No, but oh no, sensible center. You don't get it. You're so fucking red pilled on culture war. Considering technically could still have 20 or so minutes. All right. As a loyal follower of your channel, why does your side always side with the establishment against the working class? Every working class person I know is definitely not a lefty and can't stand lefty bullshit. Just my experience, but you guys claim to defend the working class. Ironic. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. Let me see if I can contextualize that a little bit, I guess. So I would first kind of have to ask, like, when you say working class person, I suppose, can you elaborate kind of who and where you're talking about? Because depending on what state you're in, certainly, there's going to be a lot of local politics that are going to be involved. And also, I think, depending, like, there's a reason why, for example, a lot of people in, let's say like Seattle are rather left wing and have kind of left wing values, but in terms of like working, they're not like socialists or anything. They're regular like liberals pretty much. They're left-ish leaning. So I think the like local politics plays a lot of into it. Working class people I know are usually handymen, plumbers, electricians, mechanics, just people I know in daily life. Bay Area of California, by the way, which isn't known to be a conservative stronghold or anything. Oh God, Bay Area. I've heard a lot of not great things. Yeah, okay, so I would say, at least through my experience, handymen, plumbers, and electricians, those sorts of people, you're not going to see them, I think, while they are working class, what a lot of those guys are entrepreneurs. Or maybe not entrepreneurs. They're, I mean, they are kind of like, a lot of them own their own businesses and are like their own single employee. Like, you have your, your local plumber and like, he owns, I don't know, A1 plumbing or whatever. And it's really just him, he just has his own thing. And most of the time there's been a real concerted effort, I think, from the right wing to align people who are, because it's not entrepreneurs. What's the word I'm looking for? Society would barely function. I'll throw garbage men into that mix as well. Sanitation workers and all that. Yeah, I mean, so there's a big difference. I don't think necessarily in terms of class, but there is going to be a big difference between somebody who is an employee and somebody who is a like individual contract worker. Individual contract workers just are, I think, align themselves more closely, or at the very least envision themselves more closely with owners. It's why you see a lot of small business people defend large corporations and large businesses, because they kind of share the same relationship in terms of ownership of the means of production. So if you're like a handyman, you own your tools, you own your truck, you own probably a lot of the equipment, stuff like that. And if you are a owner of a corporation, you own pretty much every single tool that's used to make the products that you sell. You own all of the labor that the workers put into any single product. So there is a thin, I don't think it's like, and I don't think it should be this way, but there is a, I think, rather thin relationship between those, that those sorts of guys kind of see themselves more in the light of a Jeff Bezos or a I don't know, we're small, like the guy who started Home Depot, let's say. I never know business people's names, but I think they see themselves more like one of them who just haven't made it yet to that level, then they see themselves that rather than seeing themselves as um any Joe Schmo who's working in a retail store for a wage, who sells their labor for an hour worth of work at a time. It's just a different kind of relationship, I think, and a lot of leftist politics and a lot of leftists in general. When we talk about working class, we are more identifying with, and I think speaking to, um, those like employees, mainly because they're the what's seen as, I think, the proletariat, which I tend to agree. And also that's going to be the largest group of working class people are employees. Most people don't own their own businesses, and most people aren't their own bosses. Most people are employees. So it's really kind of a um, not strategic. It's ideological, but it's also a bit strategic in that an appeal to the working class employees nets captures a bigger net of people, I suppose. Broke to be a lefty, or what are you saying? No, I'm not saying you have to be broke. It's leftist politics a lot of times comes down to the relationship between worker and the actual like product that they're creating. If you make, let's do this. If you make, how much water do I have in here? All right, I'm gonna try it. All right, you work for a company, right? There's a guy who makes this piece. There's a guy who makes this piece. There's a guy who makes this piece. This is like the magnet top part. And there's a guy who makes this, the actual cup part. Each one of those people have have a system, have a routine, have a process in making all three of these components that come together to then make this with its fun little, this is a magnet. It's a good cup. It's a Yeti, I think. I got it for free at work because somebody accidentally left it. But when all three of those people put in their labor to make this, to make this, to make this, none of them own any of that. They don't own the individual parts. They don't own the machine. They don't own the the magnet. They don't own any of it. The person who owns this, they all come together to create this and hand it then up the ladder to a to the owner of the company, who hires somebody to find a distribution network to sell that item. Now, this might cost, I don't know, let's say $20. This might cost $20. For each one of these they sell, obviously that $20 is divided up. Now, the person who makes that decision is not the person who makes any of these components. All of this stuff, all of this, the decision, the people who make this shit don't have a say, do not have a relationship to the production of this. They don't have a relationship to it. They make it and it's away and they're done. They don't get to decide where it goes, how much it sells for. So when it gets sold, they also get paid a flat wage. So you might make 100 of these that will all sell for $20, and you will see in an hour you will make $15, even though you made, how much was that? What did I say? $20. Even though this is worth, you made $2,000 worth of product, you're only getting paid. If you're getting paid $20, we'll make it a round number. You're getting paid a minuscule amount for how much you just produced. So, when leftists talk about the working class, who we are trying, I think, primarily to contact and to reach out to, is the three people who made this. Because three people in a democracy, these are three votes. Each individual who made this, this, and this, that's three votes. Whereas the alternative is what? The one guy at the top, he only has one vote. This is why, like, leftists favor democracy. It's a lot more representative of the amount of people who are working on in this scenario, this one cup and cups like it. And when we talk about the working class, that is who we're talking, because the vast majority of people are doing that and not as much doing the handyman jobs, plumbing, and all the rest of that stuff. For sure, those are still working class people. It's just those people have a different relationship to the production of goods and services. If you're a handyman, you own your tools. If you're a plumber, you own your tools, electrician, all the rest of that stuff, right? You own your tools. Sometimes I know there's like contracts that people have. I know it's slightly more complicated than that, but like you're the product there. You are buying tools to then fix somebody's toilet or rewire their house or whatever. And you have 100% say over how much that costs, meaning how much your labor is worth. And you also have 100% say over like, how that service is delivered, which people you actually service. You have, you're not fixing a thing and passing it on to the next person. You yourself are the decision maker for all of that stuff. And those people tend to, because they have a different relationship to, to goods and services, they, I think, see themselves more closely to a Bezos, to a guy who started Home Depot, I just can't remember, to founder of a company or whatever, right? That's kind of why when like those sorts of people, I don't think always get captured by leftist rhetoric, just because most leftists aren't looking, or at least aren't talking specifically to that relationship, I suppose. Hopefully that all made sense. Even truck drivers who make six figures don't own their own trucks and have to pay. No. Like truck drivers do not actually. Yeah, truck drivers, from what I understand, aren't those usually like contracted out, like the actual truck? Although no, don't some of them do? That's okay. You know what? I'm gonna Google it because I'm kind of curious. Because I've heard of truck drivers, who I don't know if they own their own trucks, but they do own like a piece of it, or at the very least, they're like tied to it in a financial way. And then like there's some really cool like trucks where they have like in the back they have like all these cool setups. Some of it's actually kind of neat. But let's see. Own their trucks. Let's find out. Do truck drivers buy? This is from Quora, so this is not scientific, but somebody on here said, I own my own semi-trailer for around 30 years, and I did everything myself in regard to maintenance. Also found my my own loads, hauling livestock, I retired, 30 years. This was 5 years ago, okay. Let's see. Might sound unconventional, but I'd go with the blue. Oh, what the fuck? Here we go. Yes, they can, and we do. I run the lower 48 with my wife. We have been trucking off and on for almost 39 years. That's cool. 2020, better built. Where's the thing? There it is. Look at it. Look at this bad boy. Fucking Optimus Prime out here. Yeah, because I think you can. There are like, because you can work for a company where kind of the same with because UPS drivers don't own their trucks that they drive every single day. And I have no doubt that there are some truck drivers, like semi drivers, who also don't own their own stuff, own their own trucks. But like, yeah, I've seen this where people have like pretty cool banging fucking setups. Nice beds, you got your storage. I kind of want to read this whole person's story, but man. But yeah, so they can. They absolutely can. Obviously, taxes are gonna affect everybody, but ooh, this is out near me. It's nice. Oh, that's nice too. Anyway, let me read the rest of this. Pay taxes that drag their earnings down pretty considerably. People don't know details about a lot of professions. and make assumptions that aren't founded, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, we can't know. I can't know everything about every what's the word? Every like career choice or whatever. But yeah, like the reason why I guess one could say that leftists don't speak to your handymen, your those kinds of working class people is mainly because of the relationship to the means of production, basically. It's just a different relationship. A lot of, when especially when I talk about it's the same thing that when I talk about like working class people, I'm trying to speak to the largest group of people I can. And it's why, like, we'll talk about low wages, really like tough hours, not having benefits, all things that we used to offer people in the working class. But nowadays, it's seldom are you able to find like really good paying jobs the way you used to be able to that offer you benefits, benefits, good pay, not shitty hours. So many people work under bosses that they don't like, work for, inside of company bureaucracies that are unfair, that like just what's the word? That burn them out. Like, if you've ever worked in any like retail or any like kitchen or anything, like turnover super high, burnout is super high. It's just most people live under that. So a lot of times that's who we're talking to, and that's just not, that's not going to be the same people as your plumber, as your those sorts of people. We absolutely, I have nothing against any of those people. They're not doing anything wrong. It's just they're going to identify, I think, a little bit more with kind of the business owner class, to a degree in terms of their relationship again, to production. And Republicans have made small business leaders, I think what's the word I'm looking for? A tent pole of kind of their internal party politics. Whereas the Democratic Party really hasn't. The Democratic Party historically has been very pro-union, not so much in the last, I'd say 30 to 40 years. But certainly if we're talking during the New Deal era, if we're talking throughout the 60s and 70s, and like the 50s and 40s, you see a lot more of I think a union alignment with the Democratic Party than you do with the Republican Party. So that's also kind of why. It's just, in the, small business owners, unions, Republicans took small business owners, Democrats took unions, kind of in that way. Granted, again, it's no excuse to not try to reach those people. You absolutely could. It's just, So the left is incapable of appealing to the portion of the working class whose jobs are a necessity for society to run. Well, first of all, so I think you're trying to draw another. I don't know why you keep doing this. You keep trying to draw this zero sum game out when that's not what this is about. The people who are a necessity to society aren't just plumbers, mechanics, all the rest of those people. For sure, those people are absolutely important. But you need people to be working in any of those places for them to be profitable, for them to function, anything else. I think all workers, all real workers, are necessary for society. The actual class of people who I think have become unnecessary, or what's the word I'm looking for, have, I think, really inflated their function, are middle managers. You have middle managers. You have a lot of the bloat at the top of a lot of the largest corporations, because people are always trying to get another piece of the pie. Meanwhile, a lot of those people, any of your executives, these people aren't really creating value. They're directing value, but they're not creating any of it. They're not, if every CEO of every, if you shaved off 10% of all of the executive and management class in this country, you wouldn't see nearly as like I don't think our economy would be that heavily affected. There'd be an obvious effect. Not to say that those people don't do jobs that need to get done or that, but like there's quite a lot of bloat in there. Whereas when it comes to workers, the people actually, turning the wrench, the people who are actually doing, flipping the burgers, all of that sort of stuff. If you shave 10% of that off of the population, you're fucked. A lot of companies can't function under like, some of the, if like 10% of all regular workers just like that would be a disaster for the economy. So no, it's not that the left is incapable of appealing to, no, it's just that ideologically there is a difference in priority. That. Let's see. That could be a positive development. I mean, that's a bad for your side, but a good one for mine. Yeah. You guys still have college kids working the part-time. Yeah. And see, this is the difference between leftists and you. For you, you think that all of the plumbers and maintenance people and electricians are a larger share of the population. I hate to tell you this, but they're not. They're not at all. From an electoral standpoint, more workers are going to be the college-aged kids working Starbucks or whatever, not your blue-collar electrician. Well, construction workers aren't the people you're talking about. Construction workers are employees. They are not they are not part of the ownership class. Construction workers, like everybody else, builds components and reap almost none of the benefits to the person who's going to own the building and sell it to somebody else or rent it out or whatever it might be. If you're a construction worker, you build the building and then you fuck off and build the next building. Meanwhile, the guy who owned the building, who contracted you, is going to make loads more off of your labor. So, yeah. Gonna have all the people who make things and run our side. Run our side is my point. I don't think you have a proper understanding, or at the very least I don't think you have an understanding on who you're talking about and who I'm talking about. Aren't lefties though? Have you met construction union workers? While I wouldn't say that they're left, that's also comes down to what you consider left. Construction unions are not something new. And construction workers, I certainly don't think are, actually, let's find out. Voting, let's see, voting. Let's take a look. Do we have data on that? I don't even know if we do. Construction, there's a lot of there's a lot of, what's it called? There's a lot of construction industry folks, but that's very different. Construction site, and ask one of the guys their pronoun. No, but oh no, Sensible Center, you don't get it. You're so fucking red pilled on culture war. It's not about asking pronouns. Like, what you're not understanding, we're talking about economics. We're not talking about culture. I don't care. I'm not interested in construction workers and them knowing pronoun stuff. They don't care. That's not what what you're mistaking. What you're conflating and what you're mistaking is you keep trying to tie this back to the culture war stuff, People don't vote on culture war. They just don't. There's a reason why Republicans got fucking mauled in the midterms when they ran on trans issues. It's not something that people vote on. People vote on the economy for a rather large part of it. Obviously, there are people who vote on the culture, but no, like construction work, if you go and ask a construction worker their pronouns, they're gonna go like, I don't know, like I'm a dude. I'm a guy, so it's whatever those are. And like, but if you ask them, hey, how do you feel about your relation to the means of production? Do you feel like you're getting a fair shake at the building that you yourself are building, and somebody else is going to sell for millions of dollars, but you're only going to make a couple $1,000s at best building? They're going to say, oh yeah, the working conditions are actually pretty bad, and oh yeah, the actual pay for like what the slice of the pie that we're getting is disproportionate to the amount of actual value and work that we are creating to make this building. Somebody else is going to benefit a lot more from me building this building than I will, even though, like, you know, I'm the one doing all of the work. Like, you're mixing things up. Like, this isn't, we're not talking about the culture war. The culture war is not what we're talking about. How do you know that they don't care? I mean, even if they don't care, they still are turned off by lefty. Again, you're, oh my God, I need you. Okay, Sensible Center. My buddy, my friend, my loyal follower. I need you to go and talk to people about something other than the culture wars. They're just not what's on people's minds. I don't know if you can vote yet. I'm not sure. But I can almost guarantee you that if you ask people, and when you'll find this out when you start voting, all of those little culture war stuffs, they don't impact your life. They're not gonna, you know, whether a trans person can compete in your local sports. It's not gonna affect your ability to pay rent, to put food on your table, to treat your family to a higher standard of living. None of these things are going to happen if you obsess over the culture war. They're just not. Like, they're just not. Guys will be okay. Like, yeah, not only that, but like a lot, there's a reason why people gravitated towards Bernie Sanders, the probably most successful open socialist candidate we've had in this country. There's a reason for that. And like Bernie Sanders is as woke as everybody else, right? We can all agree on he's incredibly left wing. He was in favor of gay marriage back in the fucking 80s. Bernie Sanders, by all metrics, is pretty goddamn woke. But Bernie Sanders focuses and Bernie Sanders speaks to the economic turmoil that the middle and working class are living under, the position that they are in, that they are being constantly squeezed out of because people at the top above them would like just a little bit more profit. So it comes out of the pockets of the middle class, driving their wages and them down into the lower class. There's a reason why people say that we're getting closer and closer to a world where you're either rich and poor and there is no middle of that. There's a reason why people understand this, and people are coming to this realization that shit, my position in the middle class is not secure anymore. I can get like whether it's fucking healthcare bills, whether it's whether it's the cost of housing, whether it's any of this sort of stuff, whether it's like wages not keeping up with inflation, any of this stuff. They've come to realize that their position in the middle class is at threat right now. And like talking to them about like pronouns and trans women in sports and abortion and all this nonsense isn't gonna change any of that. None of that is going to keep them or keep you, if you're in it, in the middle class. It just ain't gonna happen. I don't talk to people about the culture war. People bring that shit up unprompted to me. They make comment or joke poking fun at that crap. Yeah, because people make jokes. May not be whining about Dylan Mulvaney or what. Most people don't know who Dylan Mulvaney is. If you are like under the age of 25, you only knew who Dylan Mulvaney was because the right wing made them into an entire conversation piece. Nobody cared Absolutely nobody cared. Except, again, people who spend a bit too much time online. And because the right wing made it into like an entire thing. They made that into a talking point. How many people do you think saw that the like actual Instagram or TikTok post or whatever with their face on a beer can? How many people do you think saw that compared to how many people saw everybody else freaking the fuck out about it? Like, the right wing does not talk about economics because they have no interest in changing the current system. There is no alternative for Matt Walsh, for Ben Shapiro, for any of this stuff. They don't have a solution. Their solution is work harder. Their solution is change fields into a better paying field. Like, they don't have answers to this stuff. So they don't talk about economics. And then all they want to talk about is, again, Dylan Mulvaney, trans sports, LGBT rights. Oh my God, there was a book I saw that I didn't like in some school library. Oh my God. And they create wedge issues. All you're doing is constantly bringing up wedge issues that aren't going to substantively change anybody's life. It ain't going to change yours. It ain't going to change mine. Let's see. My phone's in 2023. Yes, I know. Yes, I know we're all online. That's what I'm saying. That we spend so much time on. I know that. I'm aware. There's a reason why. Don't you think there's a reason why you spend so much time? Do you know why? You know the whole thing with apps, they want to keep you online. They want to keep you on the app. You want to know why we spend so much time online? It's because it's a lot easier to track you when you're online. It's a lot easier to sell your data and your interests to some data broker somewhere for a couple smooth million, couple dollars. And now they have your data and they can send you ads. Do you ever wonder why every time that you mention something, next thing you know, if I mention, let's see, if I mention like, oh, the space on my hard drive on my computer is starting to build up. And also, I have a hard drive already, but that's already filled with all the rest of the VODs that I've recorded. I need to get a new one. You know what I'm going to get in the next 24 hours? A fucking ad for another fucking extended hard drive. That's what's going to happen. And the reason for that is because there's somebody who listened on this phone, who heard those tags, who heard that I need this, or heard like me say the words extended drive, whatever. I'm not some kind of fucking analytics genius. They heard that. They sold that data to somebody who's then going to send me an ad. And if I click on it, they're going to get $1. They're going to get a couple cents off of that, whatever. There's a reason why we've all been driven online. And it's because they want to sell us ads. And because they can't fill the world with ad space, not yet at least. Like we live in cyberpunk or something. But they can certainly do that online. Every article you read, whether it be about video games, whether it be about the news, whether it be about, I don't know, fucking anything that you have interest in. If you go and read an article about it, you're almost guaranteed to see the entire fucking page's ads. That's why we're here. Because somebody wants to make money off of selling your data. Data that they're, by the way, not paying for. At the individual level, you're going to have to adjust your profession or do something unless you plan. So again, and then, okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say. The reason why I have a problem with your last message here. We're going to have to, those are answers at the individual level. So let's be really clear. And I've said this before. The right-wing response to our societal malaise under capitalism is that everybody just needs to make better decisions, go into a better profession, compete harder against your coworkers, work harder, make more money for your boss. That's their solution. Now, we've been living under that for all of my lifetime and a lot longer. And we have been driving since that moment to where we are right now, where people find the idea of societal decay to be heartwarming, to be a break from the awful routine that we all live under. We now live at a time when people aren't excited to go to work. They don't pursue their passions. They're not able to They're not able to, do what they love, so they never work a day in their life. No, most people live working jobs that they fucking hate because their options are go do something else that they dislike. Because we don't have a society where wages are secure enough in enough fields and broad enough that you're safe to go do something that you want to do that might pay you a little bit less. Like, do you know why most people don't make it doing this, doing streaming? I like doing this. I'm incredibly passionate about doing this. But can I do this? Just, will I get paid just for doing this? No. I don't get shit for doing this. I do this in the hopes that one day, I can take a break after 30 years. No, not 30 years of working, but about, how long have we worked? 31 now. Probably about the last 10 to 14 years, one would say. Yeah, 16. Yeah, kind of 15, maybe 15. The last 15 years of working for a bunch of companies that have chewed me up and spit me out. I've done my time with them. They've thanked me for it. Out the fucking door. I've got nothing for any of those. I've worked incredibly hard. I've been lazy sometimes. But what did I get out of it? They got all of my labor. I got some lines on a resume. So I do this because I can control this. I can not go live. I can go live. I can not go live when I want. I control this. Like the handyman, I can control this. Like the electricians, this right here is for me. But not everyone has that option. Not everyone has an ability to, take a break, to work just a little bit less, just enough to get to eke out the thing that they want to do. I'm lucky. I'm incredibly lucky and privileged that I don't have to be working every single day, that I've got a schedule that allows me to do this 3 times a week. And even then, that's not that much compared to a lot of people. Some people do this 8 hours a day for 6-7 days out of the week because they have time. Maybe they don't have bills. Maybe there's somebody else, they're living at home at the time. Maybe they're, I don't know. Everyone's situation is a bit different. But not everyone has that kind of free time to be able to, I hate to, Joe Rogan's kind of an idiot, but I did relate to this. Not everyone has the time or ability to water their interests, to take the things that they're passionate about and actually try to make those something more. They just can't. Some people have to work 1, 2, 3 jobs maybe. Most people work at least one full-time job. 40 hours out of your week, how much more time do you have? Most people spend most of their time at work. And, and it's just the solutions that Republicans and that you're regurgitating to me is one that we all just figure it out, that we all just solve our own problem. And here's the thing. We have a societal issue and we need a solution for that fits that problem. We can't fix the largest problem we have in this country. We cannot fix that one at a time. It will never happen. You will never be able to convince every individual person one at a time to just start making the right decision every single time. I've also said it before, not everybody can be a lawyer. Not everybody can be an electrician. Not everybody can be a doctor. Not everybody can be a financial advisor. Not everyone can be whatever the top paying jobs are. We should and we need to acclimate our economy and our society to offer a better standard of living to everyone. The McDonald's worker should be able to live a comfortable life. That's not to say that the lawyer shouldn't. They're always going to live a better life than the McDonald's worker. But we don't have to worry about those lawyers. They make enough. They're at the top already. What we need to do is raise the boats of millions. And the only way to do that successfully and prudently is through mass political action. It's why go and argue at your job for a higher wage, just you. See how successful that is. And then go look at UPS strikers who collectively bargain against their bosses and end up getting $340 billion secured for their workers. Collectivism is the only way that we actually address these issues on a broader, large scale. Not through just everyone doing, making the right decision all of a sudden. It's just, that's not how change works. And that's not how you're ever going to fix these problems. You're never going to solve it with everyone one at a time. There are 375 million people in this country. You're never going to get, you're never going to get all of them to move one at a time at one thing. I think it's fair. I can't drink when I drive, since I drive better drunk. That's how things are, and I have to abide by what's realistic. Yeah, and like what I'm here to do, which Sensible Center, you might be too far gone, but what I'm here to do is to, I think in my mind, advocate and expand your imagination as to what is realistic. It was realistic for the UPS workers. It was realistic for the nurses' unions. It was realistic for every other collectivist union action that has gone on over the last year. It's not unrealistic, and it's not out of our grasp. We used to live in a country, not even 100 years ago, with broad union membership, thriving wages, and a thriving economy for everyone. And just like the child tax credit and childhood poverty, we chose to walk away from that. We chose the format we are living in right now. And we can choose better. And as a leftist, this is at the core of my politics. I want people to live better lives. All right, I've now talked for a long time. The thing that they tell, like at the end of all YouTube videos where they tell you to like click on one of these like things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those. So that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to